Welcome to Diamondback, New Mexico, stranger. Armpit of the Southwest. Don't rightly know what you're doing here, mister, but looks like you're stuck until the stage comes through.
Tell me you're not going to do this whole review as Gabby Hayes. I'd really like to hear that from you.
You're so dumb you can't see what's right in front of your eyes. It's down you gotta go. Down.
Cut it out.
Okay. Folks, this here game is called Dust, A Tale of the Wired West, and it's from some fellers in Tennessee called Cyberflix. They're the same ornery varmints what turned out Lunicus and Jump Raven back a while. Hee hee.
Oh, like that's any better. Well, the premise of Dust is about as Western as you can get. You play a nameless stranger who comes into the town of Diamondback after almost getting killed in a crooked card game.
You ain't got a gun, and this here is a right dangerous place to be. Everyone's running scared from dirty, thieving outlaws like the Belcher brothers and the Kid.
But you're pretty much stuck there until the next stagecoach comes to town, which won't be for 3 days.
So you might as well get yourself set for a spell. Meet the locals, chew the fat, find a gun and fast, partner. Hee hee.
Diamondback is a fully rendered 3D environment, and the population wanders up and down the street. If you want some info, click on somebody. They'll walk toward you.
And blam! You're a jawin' face-to-face with an actor what's been digitized proper.
Cyberflix decided against using full video on this game to conserve space. Instead, a series of facial expressions and gestures have been pieced together into a strange but effective animation.
This here technique was also used in that Inca 2 number by them Sierra folks. And hoo-wee if it weren't right funny. Hee hee.
This technique should never be used in a game that takes itself seriously. It looks too much like bad dubbing in a foreign movie. Fortunately, Dust is hardly a John Ford picture. It's more like support your local sheriff. While you have some errands to run in Diamondback,
like getting a gun pronto,
there is a lot of freedom outside of those requirements to do whatever you want. There are people to talk to, subplots to get wrapped up in, and games to play.
Dern tootin'. If you find yourself wandering the town needing a few more pesos in your pocket, well, stranger, you can always sit in with Janine for a few hands of blackjack, or fiddle with that one-armed bandit contraption. If it were me, I'd always take the poker table. Them boys ain't got a brain to split between 'em. Hee hee.
But if you really get stuck, you can always go find help.
Help is glad to make your acquaintance.
Yup. Help is the name of this here Chinese feller what runs the curiosity shop in town. He's right smart for a foreigner. He can tell you what you ought to do to move the story along a little more. You only got 3 days after all. Best get a movin', stranger.
The first time you meet Help, the situation is rigged. You can't get into town unless you get past the vicious dog. Up pops Help to tell you that you need to look for a bone.
Thing is, before he tells you this, the bone just ain't there. It just appears there after you jaw. It's all a setup, and it makes me downright ornery.
But that only happens once to introduce him. This is actually a really good way to implement an online help feature. Having a character provide the information just doesn't seem as much like cheating somehow. These days, there's just no excuse for an overly cluttered interface in an adventure game. This is not a problem with Dust. Everything is point and click except for navigations, which you do with the keyboard.
But every now and then, them designers didn't seem to know what they was doing. I mean, when you click on a door and it opens, ain't it obvious that you're gonna walk through? Why you gotta use the arrow keys too? And sometimes it was one or t'other, and I just didn't know which to use.
It definitely should have been more consistent.
And how about this here piano music? It's a-getting on my nerves right fierce. How's a feller supposed to think about playing poker with that same dang bit of music tinkling away over and over?
Overall, while the visuals are really impressive, the sound quality just doesn't match up. In addition to the extremely repetitive music in the bar, all the conversations seem to be 1 or 2 notches too low in sampling rate.
That, and they didn't sound too good neither.
While I understand the need to conserve space, this was a bad place to skimp. It's tolerable, but annoying. But overall, Dust is a quite enjoyable adventure. It's never going to be considered a classic, but if you're a Western fan with a taste for the silly, this is definitely worth the money.
That's right, stranger. This here Dust game is right proper rip-snortin' good fun.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I liked it just fine there, missy. Hehe.